So I happened to be in Bangladesh a few years back, just before the elections. And I was supposed to go to a small village in the middle of nowhere. So the people there saw me, in the beginning, they saw me getting down from a car and goggles and all that. Then after some time, they saw me sitting with ordinary people on the floor, talking to Muslim women, burqa clad and all that. And they had the confidence to come and tell me, and sir, when we first met you, we thought you're Shah Rukh Khan. So the point I'm making here is that, as people from urban India, we are not used to like knowing how to interact with village people. What kind of skills do we need? Qualitative interviewing skills, the ability to go there, understand the local culture.
It's a nuanced question. One is what you want to achieve, right? Like, I'll give a very simple example. If you ask a kid, many of them may answer, the grapes come from a tree, right? Which is not the case, right?
Yeah, right.
So I think in some way in our education system, because the villages are not hygienic, education is less, the chaos is a lot more higher, people have through their whole education process evaded that life cycle, right? Especially the kids of elitists, they don't really, even my kids, when they went first time, it was a great learning for them. So coming to the point is that what do you want to achieve, right? Do you want them to understand the rural concept? Do you want them to understand the market of rural economy? Do you want to make them understand how the decision making happens, to the point what was raised, and I completely agree, how they work as a community? Or you want really the corporate world to learn resilience from them? Like, I'll tell you an example. There are different terms we talk about: gross margin, EBITDA, contribution margin, right? We talk all of these terms, but if you talk to a basic, right, thinking on the feet, to the point he was making, if you talk to a farmer, he may not be well educated, but he has everything jotted down in his brain, and very crisply and very clearly, right? And that's why I said in the beginning, education and pedigree does not mean that we are the only ones who have that knowledge. Yeah, we have it, but they also have it, right? So I think there could be multiple options to it. One is a day or two. I think everybody who is going into a corporate world should go to the village, because that is the largest segment, that is the largest population. If not at all, it makes you humble. It makes you getting close to the reality of life. It makes you understand how privileged you are, and still how happier they are than you. There are many things, right? The second is a deep. It depends on the industry which you are in, but a deep program around 5 to 7 days, understanding the economics of rural economy, I think is very good. It will give them an additional insight which many of the successful young professionals lack. They just don't have that insight, right? People today, what the jobs they take, what our friend was saying, he took 30 years before. There are not many such type of jobs today, right? That today's job environment doesn't allow you to be in the village so often, which was probably the case 2 3 decades before. So that deeper insight to that market will add value. So I would grade it in two ways. One is understanding the nuance of it, and the basic one is just a familiarization of the rural life is an important thing to do. Yeah.
Okay. Again, I have my,
Sure. That's why you're here.
I feel that, again, the exodus from the rural segment itself, people don't stay there. Anybody who has got a decent education level, they don't want to stay there. Maybe they think that my forefathers, my father, my parents are here. We don't want to spend our life there. Now, the second thing, just by sending for immersion program 1 or 2 days, 3 days, I don't think it's going to get any value, except that you get to see if someone, like, people are staying in Delhi or Gurgaon, they have never seen, village, just for a kind of, experience, but that doesn't going to change their outlook. For making someone humble, humility is a value trait which requires, it doesn't get changed just by going to village for 2 to 3 days. So the thing that all of us have stated, that in order to inculcate those value systems or the beliefs, the rural India, like, during COVID times, I just wanted to give that example. The urban India, people in Delhi or Gurgaon were overtly worried about it. My point is, if you at all you are thinking of starting some immersion program, you must do it in a structured manner. Now, I don't want to create bureaucracy or things like that. For that, at least give them a background. There are, there are simulations are available. We have to familiarize with them. Whatever value that can be imparted to the students without going to village can be given through that. There are digital twins, there are many ways of simulation are available by which one can impart those things. So it is important what exactly we are trying to learn from the rural segments. Like, there is a big market, there are the way that they view or comprehend or, understand things. We can segregate that. Okay, if we want to get them exposed to the realities of life, then yes. But 2-3 days, it doesn't. I have seen my daughter is a doctor. They have been asked to go to the rural, and they just always try to find ways to get out by that. And there are many parents, and government also has that kind of systems. If you pay 3 lakhs or something like that, you can get away with that. So that's my take. It may not be with in line with.
We want divergent views. We can't all agree. It's not possible, right? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So let me be the messenger of the good news over here, that rural India is changing, and rural India is changing for good. If you look at the overall data consumption for last year, 55%, the entire data which India consumed, the rural economy was contributing 45% of it, which is way, way beyond we would have typically thought of. And if you look at last quarter's entire consumer consumption, so while the urban consumption grew somewhere at the rate of 2.7, 2.8%, the rural consumption grew somewhere by 6%, which is almost double. What does this necessarily indicate to? This indicates that this data consumption coupled with exposure is actually making our rural India aware of many more things which they typically did not have. So the difference between the haves and have-nots is slightly shrinking now. But how do we leverage this opportunity, which is definitely immersion program is definitely a step in the right direction. So one of the ways in which I can suggest would be how and what ways we can source problem from the corporate India related to rural economy, which they are grappling with, and make that a year-long program, not really an immersive program that they have to really go, but solving that problem, sourcing that directly from the industry, because then they will get to solving a real industry problem. This will benefit the student. And a part of that should be through that immersive program in which they need to go to the villages and they need to understand. And then that can be made more razor focused by doing the right kind of segmentation from where the problem is emerging so that it can be more fruitful. I think that's one way of looking at of how and what ways an immersive program can be more fruitful for the students.
It becomes tougher as we go down the line because I think the key points have already been made. But see, my humble opinion, and I've been a little more involved with XL as a part of the executive committee of the Alumni Association. My 2 bits is there's no point for a day or 2 days, as we all said. But it's not a visit to the museum. It's not a visit to, some kind of art gallery or something. It's something you want to experience. Now, when you want to experience, there's a necessity of a flux of time. Now, it's very difficult to define month, week, 2 weeks. I'm not even getting that far. The other very interesting point which was made by him is we should begin with the end in mind. What is the purpose of me going there? Am I going to fulfill their needs? Am I going to generate needs so that I can fulfill it for them? It's a big ask. Now, XLRI has something called a Maxi, right, which is held in the grounds of XLRI. I think it is important to get companies to sponsor projects which students can go and deliver.
Also, Sigma, Oikos, those clubs.
Yeah, I know. But they're all in the campus, right? So why don't
if I have to do a research, why should I have to wait for the Jamshedpur population to come to a maxi fair and tell me what's working, not working? Can I do a research on ground in a village? Live the life of a village. I'm not saying that. I mean, for them, oh, there are mosquitoes. I mean, my gosh, it's real. Okay, so the reality check, the grounded realities has to be an influx of time with a particular purpose. They should not believe that it's a tick mark exercise which I have to do to get my diploma or a job. There is something that's exposing me to something which I need to understand, so I can really get my head out of the jug and smell the coffee. That this is the real world, this is reality, and there's joy in it. There's liberation, there's freedom, there is enterprise, there is interaction with very simple, honest folks, where there's a lot to take away from. And I said that they solve large problems in communities is a great learning. They know how to unclutter and think straight. We always try to think 5 steps ahead and live in misery because we're never in the present. We're always in the past of what's going to happen. We're chasing targets, we're chasing increments, we're chasing, appraisals, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So how to live in the moment, how to really be part of them. And even if it is a business objective,
Right.
to get to know their mind and what will work in a manner not taught in school books or watched through reels or YouTubes. It's just to be there, experience the life in whatever starkness it is there.
Become more mature.
Absolutely.
Feel village life.
So either we have experiential sessions or company sponsored this thing, or maybe even summer internship could be kind of geared so that you have a meaningful time where the student gains, the company gains, and the perspective is generated properly.